Hi everyone, today it's a great honor for me. I will start this series of interviews with my favorite player. No need to introduce him. He is the son of Omok himself, the king of the tunneling, the god of the Aether Cannon. It's a pleasure for me to welcome Vazrael. Hello Vazrael, how are you?
Hello Rollup, I'm great. And thank you for all those awesome titles that you just gave me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this interview.
First of all, congratulations for your top 4 at the X Invitational. It was a solid performance.
Thank you. I think I played the tournament really well overall, even though I made 1 or 2 mistakes. But yeah, I'm very happy about my 4th place finish.
Let's start with the X Invitational. I get some questions from the French community. They were very happy to ask questions to players. What was the atmosphere of the tournament? Did you enjoy your journey?
The journey itself was really awesome. We got to see a lot of stuff. We were at the Hex office a couple times and got set 4 spoilers and stuff. And yeah, it was great. As for the atmosphere at the tournament itself, we did not get to experience a lot of it during the games because of the soundproof headsets, and you were so focused on your games you didn't realize there's a crowd basically. But between the games it's been awesome just talking to everyone. Everyone's loving Hex, so you always have to talk to something to talk about. And yeah, it was a great experience.
Nice. Now I got a question from Camaremo. Did you know all the players? Some of them are friends or rival?
Yeah, I knew most of the players just from meeting them in games online. And yeah, I'm friendly with most of them, I would say. Not really. I don't really have any rivals, I think. I played a lot of games against Egloff before the tournament, and then we met 3 times at the Invitational itself. So that was a bit of a, like, you could call it a rivalry, but
a
yeah,
friend rival.
Yeah, basically that.
I think you met 15 times in tournament with Egloff, if I'm right.
Yes, I heard that as well after the tournament. We didn't get to look at the stats before or anything. But yeah, apparently we played 15 times before, and then 3 times at the Invitational, and I actually met him the last weekend in the 5 Shots Weekly as well, so now we are up to 19 matches.
Really nice. Now another question from Cheden. Why did you choose your deck? What was your thought?
Basically, I started the process with the thought that I did not want to pick any deck that has a very, very unfavorable matchup. So I didn't want to play Winter Moon because of potential aggro decks, even though we did not expect many, just maybe 2 Phoenix decks, but none of the troop-based aggro decks that are, in my opinion, the worst matchup for Winter Moon. I did not want to play Wild Diamond like my teammates did because of Winter Moon decks. And yeah, I didn't want to play Mono Blood because of Wild Diamond. And then it basically came down to the Phoenix aggro deck, Blood Diamond, and the Aether Cannon deck. And in the end, I tested a bunch with all of those, but I decided to stick to the deck that I knew the best, that I was very certain no one else would bring, because I absolutely hate playing mirror matches with the deck. And yeah, it also had a decent matchup against every deck that I expected, and also every deck we've seen, except maybe Mono Blood, which is by far the most difficult matchup, but it's still winnable.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the Aether Cannon deck, and it's very interesting to see you playing it. And when you started, you have, if I remember correctly, like 21 creature, and now you're at 19 with more action. Why you're going more action and less creature?
There's basically one reason for that, and that one is Croc. So I would love to play like the older version with Buccaneers and Eldritch Dreamers.
Yeah, Dreamer.
Yeah, but Buccaneers just it's just as good as Time Ripple in most matchups. But then against every deck that has a Crocosaur, it just becomes so much worse because Buccaneer on itself is not going to do anything. So you have to play a second troop, and yeah, Buccaneer is also basic speed, so I can't do anything on like my opponent's turn. So if I already have a troop out and play a Buccaneer, I'm always at the risk of just getting Crocosaur and basically lose the game because I can't afford to get 2 for 1, especially with my Azure Fates or other Inspire cards. It's just, Crocosaur is just the reason I went with more Time Ripples and less troops.
Yeah, and now you get a more explosive deck. You get 4 Mesmeric Hypnoscientists. You just want to blow all the health point of your opponent.
Yes, I picked this specific build lineup just for the Invitational itself because I did not expect a lot of Ruby, so I did not expect a lot of burns, to say more accurately. So Jax is really great if burns are not in the game. Zapper's Charge kinda gets rid of him, but that also gets rid of Azure Fate, so I'm fine with him doing that. And then the only card that's really bad for me is Carnosaurus, and I did expect people to sideboard Carnosaurus. So I already had that planned against every deck that was heavy on Carnosauruses in the sideboard but wasn't running the main. I would just swap out some Jags for some more burns and be ready to face off against the Carnosauruses. And I think it could have worked even better than it did. Honestly, I wasn't really happy about my starting hands at all at the tournament.
Yeah, you were a bit unlucky with some starting hands.
Yeah, I actually counted. I mulliganed like 6 or 7 times in 6 matches in Constructed. And I also lost to a 1 HP opponent 4 times. So
that's
rough. I wasn't the most lucky at the tournament itself, but I think it's fine.
Okay, really nice. Now another question from Deus and Frizet. Actually 2 questions in one. What do you think of the shape of the tournament? Day 1 existed solely to get from 12 to 8 and it knocked out the third of the player, but the draft eliminated half of the player. Was it fair to you? What do you think of making a limited tournament and a constrict tournament?
Well, for me, it was great because I just barely survived Day 1 and then got 2-1 in the draft and somehow made top 4 with that. But in general, I think the tournament structure need to be changed for the future. I don't think it's like I can see the point just cutting down to 8 so you have a good draft portion, and I agree that some people should be knocked out in like the first constructed stage, but I think the scores should still matter for the following, at least for the draft, if not even for I think for the top 4 it's fine to let that be single elimination by itself, but I think the Day 1 results should carry over because once you had 2 wins on Day 1, it was basically whatever you could. I mean, no one would, but you could just lose that game and don't care. And so the structure, all in all, could be changed. Having 2 different tournaments, that's an interesting idea. I didn't think about that so far. It would be fun, but then I had to qualify twice, so would be even harder to get there.
Yeah, really nice. How do you focus in and between games? Do you have any rituals?
I've played online poker for years, and so I was a big grinder in that, or I'm still a big grinder in poker. So I'm used to playing like 10, 12 tables at the same time and just focusing on one game. I won't say it's easy, but
it's natural for you.
Yeah, it's natural to just focus for a set amount of time and relax in between the games, think about the next matchup after you've come down, taking a couple minutes. So yeah, it's not a problem for me to stay focused for like even 8 to 10 hour tournaments.
Oh, excellent. In X, there is a risk and reward situation, and players usually go for low risk, low reward to avoid dangerous moves. Do you think players are too cautious sometimes?
Sometimes, definitely. I think it's a reasonable approach to go with a lower risk, lower reward thing. For me, I'm trying not to pay too much attention to that thing, as I just want to make the perfect EV choice. So yeah, sometimes it is the low risk, low reward choice that's just better overall, but especially for a tournament like the Invitational, where, you know, like everyone is a good to great player and everyone has like about the same level of skill, there's still room to outplay your opponent. But I think in those tournaments, I would always prefer the high risk, high reward choices, because in the end, you need to be kind of lucky to take it home. And yeah, so I went with the deck because I wanted to be the aggressor, and I knew that a bad starting hand with Tetzot deck is worse than a bad starting hand with, say, Winter Moon, because of all the card draw and all the removal and not all the removal, just all the chances to come back into the game, while Tetzot or Azure Cannon doesn't really have that. But at the same time, I was thinking, like, if I get really great starting hands, especially in the worse matchups, those can easily carry me to victory, because I have some matchups that I just should beat most of the time. And yeah, I'm a big fan of high reward, whatever the risk.
Excellent. What do you think of your team or people that helps you for preparing the tournament? Were they helpful?
Yes, it helped me a lot. I basically qualified before I had a real team. I was part of a Skype group, but they were very inactive. And there were basically two people that I talked to a lot and played with a lot. Those were Havoc and Fridged. And they both happened to be members of Dragonborn as well. So after I somehow won the IQ with a less than optimal deck, I decided it's time to go join a guild. I playtested before, but not as professional as like the guild setting is now. And yeah, I basically didn't want to join a guild before guilds were in the game and before I actually saw what they would do in the game. But yeah, qualifying for a big tournament like that just made me change my mind. So I asked Jedi about joining, and yeah, he had no objections. And so I became a member of Dragonborn. And yeah, it helped a lot for the Invitational, just because my draft game was a bit off and I started spamming drafts like as soon as I had won the IQ, because I knew I would need to get better at that. And yeah, they helped me a lot, just like Havoc, JJ, and everyone else from the guild, just watching me draft, Sedolution as well, by the way. Just watching me draft, talking about picks, about choices, even the gameplay itself in the draft, what to play around, what not. And yeah, it definitely helped me a lot. They even showed me a few archetypes that I had completely missed. So yeah, for the limited part, it was absolutely great. And then for Constructed, it obviously helped as well, because I just had a lot more people to play with and test the matchups and talk about things. And yeah, it was great. It helped a lot.
Awesome. What was your favorite moment in the 2 days of the tournament?
Probably the time when I went 2-0 in the draft and knew I had made top 4, because it was like day 1 was a struggle. I started 0-1 and then I was 1-2 and had to beat my teammates Sedolution to go 2-2 and make it to the draft without playing a tiebreaker. So that was really stressful. And then on day 2, just getting a really good draft. Yeah, I couldn't have hoped for a better result in the draft itself. Just I went 2-0 and JJ did as well, so we knew we were in the top 4 and could just play a kind of relaxed game for the final of the draft. That was my favorite moment.
Nice. Now I got a more general question from our viewers. A question from Overspace. What was your first TCG and your favorite beside X?
My first one was actually the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. I just started playing when I was like 10, I think. And then at some point it went online and I played a bunch because I was living in a small city and we didn't have all those Friday night magics and other TCG things that you could do. So being able to play online was great, and it wasn't quite as expensive as, say, Magic Online. Yes. So I played a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I just played Magic very casually with friends, just sitting down somewhere, having fun, exactly. Playing, like, I don't know, the decks that we actually had to build from the cards that we just had. Not much trading, and yeah, it was fun, but I was never like a competitive Magic player. So I would say my second favorite still has to be Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I was playing that very competitively.
Okay. Now a question from Sartrix. Can you tell us more about your in-game nickname?
I could.
If you want.
Yes, I will. So I'm going under a bunch of different names. My first real online MMO was World of Warcraft, as for many people. And I was always playing a lot of different characters because, I was getting bored if I just played 1 or 2 classes. So I had like 5 to 10 most of the time. And yeah, so I had to choose different names every time. And I'm not a fan of just making like small changes, adding an E or something. So I really thought about my names, and most of them actually come from character names from books that I read. And Vazrael is actually, I took from not a character, but a whole book. It's called Azrael, and I think it's only available in German. It's from a very known German fantasy author, and it was one of my favorite books. It still is, because it's not just fantasy. It also deals with like drugs, and it has like a bunch of different storylines, and there's a lot of room for interpretation. So it's one of my favorite books, and yeah, I just named my characters and my in-game name after that for a while.
Excellent. Another question from Freezet. What is your favorite card and deck in X?
Well, I don't think that's a tough question. My favorite card is Edge of Fate, just because of all the things you can do with it. It's just so very versatile. I mean, you even saw it at the tournament. Like it had Quick in 2 of the 3 archetypes. Like the Spider deck and the Azure Cannon deck, but it also had it combos well with the Mill Gem in the Spider deck, with the Damage Gem in my deck, with the Spell Shield and Card Draw in Coma's tournament winning deck. So yeah, it's just so versatile and such a great card. So that's definitely my favorite card. Also, although I have to mention that Pack Raptor AA is my absolute favorite alternate art or general art in Hex. So yeah, I always mention that as well. And yeah, my favorite deck is the Azure Cannon. It's just, I think I would even like it more if it would be more like the older version with more card draw and more troops, because you can do so much and you can do so many mistakes playing that deck that it really comes down to knowing the deck and every matchup. And yeah, as I said before, it can win every matchup. That's another point why I like it so much. And yeah, it's just a great deck, and I've played countless gauntlets with it, and yeah, I said in the player interview for the invitational that
500 or 600.
Yeah, around 500 should be correct. Maybe I exaggerated a bit in that, but no, 500 is definitely around the number that I put in, and I still enjoy playing it, and I've never had that before with a single deck or single archetype.
Excellent. And another question from Lot Orkani. Do you think the set and the game are generally well balanced?
Yes, I think the set 3 is pretty good. It could have some more constructed changing cards, I think, like Sunsoul Phoenix or Fanteo that just made it into basically every blood deck. But I think it did okay as for changing the meta in constructed. I'm just glad it went away from the stupid Mono Sapphire deck that I hated so much. And yeah, I think it's a good set for constructed, and in limited, I think it's even better because it's, for me, I enjoy playing limited or mostly draft, sealed not so much. I enjoy it more than the set 1 and set 2 drafts.
Yeah, the set 3 is really nice for drafting.
Yeah.
A question from Draduli. What is your expectation for the set 4?
I hope it will change up the constructed meta a whole bunch, and from what I've seen, like the spoilers and stuff, it looks like it will, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's always exciting to see like new decks come up, new ideas, old ideas that are strong again. And yeah, I'm not the best deck builder, but I'm looking forward to just seeing a bunch of new deck lists, copying them and trying them out until I find my new Azure Cannon, or maybe just a new version of it that I want to play forever, and yeah, make changes to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the new set, obviously.
Yeah, Ruby Sapphire looks very aggressive with the Gobbler.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I don't know if I would be on the aggressive route for the Ruby Sapphire, but yeah, like there are a lot of cards that combo great with, say, Archmage Renlock, and I also already have an idea for like a Sapphire Diamond deck that I will want to try out, and yeah, it's just gonna be fun just seeing all the new decks, and then the first bigger constructed tournaments like the 5 shots, and just playing in those, seeing new decks, see what other guilds and playtesting groups come up with, and yeah, I'm definitely hyped for the set.
Excellent. And now a final question. Do you have any advice for the new player who starts the game?
Yes, just play limited. Play limited all day, every day. That's what I did when I started, and it's great fun, it's great value, and you learn so much because you just have to deal with most of the cards at some point, at least from set 3. And then if you really enjoy what you're doing, you can start looking up like constructed decks and play that. But I think for a new player, limited is really well positioned in this game.
Thank you, Vazrael, for taking a bit of your time to answer to this question, and we wish you the best for the future.
Thank you, and you're welcome. It was fun.
It was my pleasure.